Good evening. Call Port of Johnstown Management Committee meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Also like to acknowledge that Councillor Ward will not be with us tonight. Has anybody heard from Mr. Cameron? Nothing? Okay. Number two, I need a mover for the approval of the agenda as it's amended. Moved by Mr. Martell and seconded by Mr. Smell. All in favor? Carried. Number three, disclosure and pecuniary interest and conflict of interest and general nature thereof. Does any member have a pecuniary interest? Number four, delegations and presentation. There is any. Number five, minutes of the previous Port of Johnstown Committee meeting. Port Management Committee receives and approves the minutes of the Port Management Committee meeting dated October 20th, 25. Has everyone had a chance to read them? Any errors, submissions? I need a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Mr. Smell. Boy, am I ever happy you're back from deer hunting. And seconded by Mr. Martell. All in favor? Carried. Business arising from the previous Port Management Committee minutes, if any. Okay. Number seven, discussion items, none. Action information items, grain operations. That report will be done by Mr. Moulton. You're on.
All right. Thank you, sir. I'm going to keep the trend going here. We're kind of flowing through it, so I'll make it quick. The inventory ended October at 120,047 metric tons. Although the reported harvest was stunted due to drought conditions, we had one of the strongest months we've ever had at the port. We received 136,329 metric tons. That's 150 truckloads every day of the working week of the month. Outbound shipments were also exceptionally high for the harvest season. The overall inventory, I mean, you can see it's pretty standard. It's nothing alarming there. The traffic for October, we received 136,415 metric tons of grain via truck. We shipped 14,148 back out on truck. We shipped a total of 99,587 on vessel and nothing on rail. And we had 4 vessels in the month of October. And we also worked October 4th and 5th for a local producer. We had no incidents for the month, and our labor hours were, of course, according to the volume that we had for the month. And it's still on an A, and we have an inspection coming up this week. And that is a summary of the operations report of a very successful month. And I could say it was just hard work and by everyone. And that's it.
Good evening, Mr. Cameron. Mr. Cameron, can you hear me? I heard a ding. Moving on, any questions, comments, please? Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chair. To Mr. Moulton. Mike, the 2025 soybean season has been said to be, when we talk to farmers, at about a 50% yield.
Yeah.
The amount that has come into the port this year is very similar in October to what it was the year before. Can you speak?
Over. Yeah, we're about 20,000 tons. We received 20,000 tons more this October than we did last October. I think what we'll see is that we will have as many beans come into the port this year as we did last year, and there's a couple reasons for that. Number one was the growing season this year. I think when we had two springs this year where guys got stuff in early, and then we had some bad weather, and then when the late planting came and the guys couldn't get the amount of corn in that they wanted to put in, they had to switch over and put more soybeans in. The second and most important thing is we're really pushing a very strong vessel schedule coming out of the port now. We work very hard with all of the companies that ship, and they're paying to come into the port. We're drawing from a larger region. We have probably more beans coming out of Quebec this year than we've ever had. So we're pulling from a little larger area.
It's good to know. Quebec.
Yeah.
Follow up.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Mayor, follow up.
So, so the thought is that, there's a couple of thoughts then. I'm just trying to get,
It's farming,
straight
it's no
in-
speculation.
I'm just trying to get it straight in my
Yeah.
head though.
Yeah.
Because when you talk to farmers, 50% less, but we've seen as much or more
Yeah.
all over. So you're saying that
More acres planted.
so less corn planted?
Yeah.
Okay. And more farmers serviced.
Yeah.
Am I hearing that?
Correct.
That correctly as well? Okay. So had the year have been really good this year,
Yeah.
what would that have meant? What would that have meant to us in a season like this? Because if volume is actually 50% of what it should have been, right? And we're actually higher with the amount that we've serviced, would we have been in trouble if
Oh, for sure. I mean, again, it would all depends on the vessels, right? I mean, but we work very, very hard to make sure that we have vessels coming every week to keep the beans flowing. So, but I mean, certainly, would we got the beans out of Quebec then? Would the prices been a good coming into Prescott? I mean, there's so much. I mean, I drive myself crazy trying to speculate.
is there
But we would have certainly probably been more strained to get more through.
right? Yeah. We would have needed a lot more vessels coming in
Yeah.
to load out, right?
Yeah.
Be able to
Yeah,
be able
but
to service the farmers
I
that we
don't
normally
know
have.
how we bring in any more than we're bringing in
Right.
right now. We're doing 150 trucks a day is outstanding.
So even again, help me again, and I'm just going down going down a road for more storage, right?
Yeah.
Because I know we're going to talk to strategic needs and we're going to talk to all that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But so even if we had a couple more silos out front, what
Yeah.
would that have meant?
It doesn't
Like
really
in
help
terms
us.
of
I mean,
service.
because it's not in loading position. This year, what really helped us to keep the truck volume up is we made a big shift in how we store grain at the elevator. In the past, we've put the annex and filled it full of corn, put 50,000 tons of wheat in, and then whatever room we have left, we save for beans. This year, we kind of pivoted with some of the changes in the market and not so much corn being stored at the port anymore. That could ship out of the annex, we filled the annex with wheat. So we put 20,000 tons out there, which give us a little more room and give us a little more buffer to build inventory while we're waiting for the vessels to come. So we made that shift too, which helped us this year. More storage at the annex. I mean, I don't think it's going to help us with this soybean season. Unless we look at putting a loading system out at the other dock where we're loading two vessels. If we're going to think big picture, I mean, that would be.
Yeah, I guess in my mind.
Microphone, please.
Sorry, I guess in my mind, I'm looking at it from the yield being so far down
Yeah.
and the numbers actually being up, right?
Yeah.
Because we were worried all year
Yeah, 100%.
that we certainly weren't going to see the amount coming in. Now we're seeing more than what we had anticipated in. So that scares me. If it would have been a good year, we would have been turning local farmers away and they would have had to go to Quebec to get service.
Well, I think if it was a good
Last-
year, the crop wouldn't have been as big. I mean, I think last year's a pretty good barometer of what we grow locally in the area. We grow 450,000 tons of grain and we ship, 227 of it, which was 60% of it. Even though we're going to do that again this year, just because I think more soybeans got planted and less corn next year, if we have a good season, the corn will be in and we won't have as many acres planted. And this is only me talking and what I read and what I hear and who I talk to. And maybe the prices will be better in Quebec and we don't get that draw either. I think we just kind of hit a perfect storm with everyone so worried about making some money with short yields that they were looking to get as much as they could, and it came to us.
Okay. Last question, and I know you guys are trying to rip through this. We saw farmers like from Quebec. We basically served more than what we typically do. Do we have any? Will we get, or is there an ability to get the number of how many more this year we serviced? I know you probably don't have it with you today.
No, I mean,
Just so that we
it's tough because all the loads come in by the broker, right? Like P&H reach out.
Gotcha.
So all of those come into P&H, but I know when I walk the lines, I see the Quebec plates there and I hear the drivers talk and
Okay. No,
Yeah.
that's good. Thanks, Chair.
Welcome.
Through the chair, Mr. Cameron has a question online.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Cameron.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I tried to speak earlier, and my apologies for joining late. I got held up at the farm. Mr. Mayor, to your question, which I think is a really good question, and Mike, to your response back, I'd say, yeah, the beans are down across the province. The shift, great to be filling it. But Mike, with the offset being a lot of people couldn't get corn in time, so they did put beans in. Even though the yields were way down, the planted acres were up, even in Eastern Ontario. Do you think there's going to be an impact on the volume of corn that's going to come in? So will we see the
One of my
hit in
questions.
corn? And I just wonder how much based on the broker's information or the contracts that we have right now has already arrived at the port. I know a lot of guys are still there's still corn out there. There's a fair bit, but do you think you'll see the offset to the beans in a decrease on corn?
so we never typically see corn really, to be perfectly honest, with this time of year because we're always so high volume soybeans, and soybeans are the things
Right.
that ship.
Absolutely.
Corn is the things that comes in and to be stored.
Yeah.
So we typically don't see it for maybe another month. I will say that we know that the local corn is down. It's not going to be drawn from anywhere else. Everyone has cleaned their beans out, they've cleaned their wheat out, and they're going to hold that corn on farm because the price isn't good and the yield is low.
Correct.
There will still be corn come to the port, though. I mean, there's just too many local producers and stuff that rely on high volumes of corn to manufacture. So we know that somehow, some way, that we will get volumes of corn into the port.
Okay, but so no reason.
It may
no
not
read
just be
right now.
local. That's the only. It may not just be local corn that comes.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of local corn, so that's good. And I respect what you're saying about you typically don't see corn until a little bit later, but historically that's the couple of things that feed into that, right? Dryer capacity, storage capacity, etc. But we're certainly open and ready to take that now, earlier than ever. So okay,
We've taken probably 2,000 tons of wet corn in right now.
2,000 tons.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments, people? I'm just going to touch on that a little bit more, Mike. Obviously, we're way down in corn from this year and last year. I mean, 6,000, 6,200 ton to 14,000.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to, like you said, continue to decrease. Are we expecting inbound corn coming?
Yeah. Somehow, some way it'll come.
So we're going to get the wharf. We're going to get the ships in anyways to load. And would it be storage too on top of
Yeah.
that probably?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
All assumptions
No,
based on conversations.
I know if and buts are candy nuts, we all have a Merry Christmas.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
No.
Okay. Moving on to 8B, maintenance report. Report will be presented by Jeffrey. Thank you.
Microphone, please.
Turn on the Oh. Work in the maintenance department during the previous month included the following: the typical weekly, monthly dust system maintenance, pre-vessel inspection and maintenance of ship loaders and automatic valves in the marine gallery, work order log, repairs to discharge end of number 2 ship loader, replace the gearbox annex bin, number 9 day paddle sweep, installed several small patches on various grain leaks throughout the building, grain handling equipment checks while vessel loading, inspect ship loading conveyor BCO2 as it was plugged during one of the vessels that we were loading. Belt is fine, the splice is fine. Daily inspection of grain receiving pits and conveyors. Inspected number 4 lofter after it became plugged during vessel loading. We will be replacing this lofter belt in 2026. That's a capital project. We did replace some buckets on it. Repair aerator duct work to annex bin number 2. Replace 6 links of drag conveyor chain on the drag conveyor. It goes into annex bin number 3. And what we found with that, it seemed to be a manufacturer flaw with the chain. And we do keep spare chain there. We installed new urethane liner in the chute from 2 conveyor into 4 lofter. Replaced dust socks of C dust filter. Replaced return roller and bearings west end of 6 conveyor on the bin floor. The electrical department, we had to bring in GTR scales to assist with the troubleshooting of annex truck scale. And what we found was that rats had damaged one of the load wires to the load cells. They chewed the wires right off at the load cell. We have a spare, so we were able to get it back up and running, but the wildlife is becoming a problem. As noted below, to date, we've caught, and we'll actually have updated 201 mice and 14 rats in the annex. So we're making headway, but they have a home. Electricians also work with millwrights when they're busy, which is this time of year. Replace bearings in annex bin number 2 aerator motor. That's a 50 horse fan that we actually take it apart and change the bearings in it. Conducted monthly premise inspection as per GMP requirements. Compiled the parts list and begin installation of new printer in the new receiving lane. Replace electrical feeders to annex bin number 9 sweep motor. And this again was due to wildlife being where it's not supposed to be. Repaired weather station anemometer. The weather station will be replaced in 2026, provided the budget gets passed. Contractors, Whiting Mechanics were in place on site to replace the front left axle seal on Trackmobile, and Lloyd McMillan replaced the water main. So that job is complete as well. So there you have it. Any questions?
Questions, comments, people? Go ahead, Mr. McCauley.
Thank you, Chair. And Jeff, do you know if the wiring that's being chewed is soy-based? Because I know that's the problem with Lexuses and Toyotas, and there's different other vehicles that attract mice and rats, because in fact the wiring covering is soy-based. And I'm wondering if it is there some other alternative you can use?
I would have to look into that, but they really aren't too picky on what they chew, Frank. So what we're going to do is we're going to put wire braid over all the wires.
Okay.
So eliminate it that way.
And just as a follow-up, you talked about the number caught at the annex.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a problem with the elevator itself too?
The elevator compared to the annex, no, absolutely not.
Huh?
You never see a rat in the main building. You see the odd mouse, but the annex is a problem.
Okay.
And it's because we can't keep the outside of the area clean.
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Smell?
Thank you, Chair.
Turn your mic on, please.
I thought it was, sorry, pardon me. Anyway, thank you, Chair. Mike, I just wondered, a curiosity question I got for you. The urethane liner you put in, I'm curious, was there one there before? Or?
There was not. There was AR400 wear plate, which with soybeans has a life expectancy or lifespan in the elevator of about 4 years, whereas the urethane will last 10. So.
Thank you. I got one more, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
One more question, curiosity question again. The dust cloths, are they new or do you clean them?
They're brand new.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Jeff, I just have one that loading conveyor, it was plugged, and the belts and spice is still in good condition, but still plugged, and then the loafer plugged. Is it because of the what? Was it beans or corn or what was it? Beans?
It was beans. It's, and I'm not pointing the finger at anybody.
Good.
It's maintaining correct positioning of the loading spouts as you're loading the vessel. If you get them too high and your unload rate is too fast from the scale, it backs up, is what happens.
Okay. So we've had that discussion.
We have.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, people? Okay. Mr. Cameron, I can't see you, so I'm just going to ask you.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 8C, capital projects. That will be Mike and Jeff. Please go ahead.
I can do, okay, yeah. So further to the last meeting, there is the only update I really have is at the last meeting, Frank had asked about the grain elevator bin wall project that was estimated to be completed at Q3 and hadn't started at that point. So after that meeting, we did have a follow-up, and based on access to the site, because the water main was still being repaired and the weather, we've are recommending that we defer that to 2026 just for best quality of the product adhering to the building. So everything else, we've deferred the covered storage project to the 5-year capital forecast, and we'll bring that forward when a business case exists. Item number 2, when we met last week, Jeff provided us a follow-up of what exists, and right now we require a 2-day shutdown on that lane to install the sampler system. And based on the the busy season right now, we just are hoping to defer that probably till January when it's a little bit slower. We're not keen on shutting down when we're at 150 trucks a day. And then everything else is on schedule to be completed by the end of the year, the last 3 projects.
Questions, comments on the capital projects? Anyone? This number 2 is driving me nuts. It goes on and on and on.
You are not alone.
And then you just found out the other day more good news.
Yeah, that's to do with the sampling system, that it was not spec'd as explosion proof either. So we're taking that on ourselves. And like Leslie said, we require a 2-day shutdown to get it installed. So that'll be obviously after harvest. But we will have the upgrades to bring it up to code in place at that time.
Are we using that at all right now?
Yeah.
There, we can't.
We can't. No, we need that. We need to be able to sample those containers.
Okay. Yeah. So we're saying harvest January, February. Any other questions, comments on this? No? Okay, any other questions on the capital budget before I move on? Okay, moving on to D. 8D, financial and traffic report. This will be presented by Rhonda.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
We had a successful start to the final quarter of the year. In October, our revenues were 1.78 million, which is an increase of 149,000 compared to last year. Mainly coming from the higher grain movement, both in and out, along with the incoming salt was slightly higher for the month. Our expenses were 661,000, which is higher than 24 by 86,000, but we had a successful end to the month with a surplus of 1.19 million, which is an increase of 63,000 over last year. We hope to continue this momentum into the last 2 months of the year with potentially 5 salt vessels and 3 to 4 grain vessels, and the first fertilizer vessel all set to arrive in November. And we're on number 3 of the grain boats and 1 more to go this week. And then there's the breakdown of the expenses, and the next page is our traffic report. Do you have any questions?
Questions, comments, please? Mr. Cameron?
I have none. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody? Questions, comments? All right. Going to be moving on to 8E, which is a report be presented by Leslie.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. So just quickly, there's some previous meeting follow-up. At the last meeting when we presented the audit plan, there was a question raised with respect to the language included in the plan. specifically referencing placing low reliance on our accounting system. So we did reach out to representatives from MNP, and they have confirmed that due to the small size of our accounting department, low reliance has been indicated for their own auditing efficiencies. As in previous years, they will conduct a full substantive audit project approach without testing the internal controls. However, it doesn't mean that our system is weak or lacking. So unless there's any other questions related to that, we will proceed with the audit as approved at the last council meeting. I've just made note of some previous and recent events that we had, and I just want to take this time as well to thank council and the township for involving us with last week's visit by the Premier. We feel very grateful to have been part of that, and thank you for including us. I think we all felt pretty special and feel like it was a great opportunity, so thank you again. We received some updated information from Transport Canada, so we are undertaking another review of our Port of Johnstown security plan. So that is a working, ongoing document. So we review that at every point that we have information relayed to us. And also undertaking another review of our salt operations manual based on some recent non-compliance issues in consultation with MECP. We've been busy working on our capital budget, our operations budget, and our 5-year forecast that we're going to present later this evening. And Robert Daly, who's our senior advisor, is working on his final project of the year, which is a tender for the port dock repairs, the design and engineering. So this is a tender for a Class D estimate for the remediation, retrofit, and rebuild. So that closes on Monday, November 8th, and those results will be brought forward to the December meeting. Also just want to take this opportunity to thank Stephanie and her office for organizing our representation for 3 local services for Remembrance Day. I'll leave it at that, Chair.
Questions, comments, anyone? Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Just to clarify, GM, did you say that it was received on November 8th? Oh, maybe you meant December.
Yes, I did mean
Okay.
December 8th. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a month
that's
behind.
Yeah, nope, that's good.
Any other questions, comments on the GM's report? Mr. Cameron?
None. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we move on? I need a mover and a seconder for the report of grain operations, maintenance report, capital projects, financial and traffic report, and GM report. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Mr. Mayor, seconded by Mr. Martell. All in favor? Carried. We're going on to F, draft financial reserve policy. This report will be presented by Leslie. Go ahead, Leslie.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. So by way of background, at the meeting in March of 2025, Council, based on a recommendation from the Port Management Committee, approved a surplus sharing policy. And at that time, there was discussion about also creating and bringing forward a reserve policy. So now is the time that we're bringing that forward. So a draft policy has been presented. It's quite, we kept it pretty high level and consistent with the township's policy. So it outlines four types of reserve policies: an operating reserve, a maintenance and infrastructure capital reserve, a contingency or emergency reserve, and a strategic development reserve. And all 4 types of reserves include the target level and how those will be funded and who would maintain and seek access to those funds. So at this point, I think I'll just turn it over for questions.
Okay, I hope someone's got questions on this. Go ahead, Mr. McCauley.
First of all, thank you for this. I think this is really helpful. Just under types of reserves, there is replenishment referenced under the operating reserve.
Yes.
Replenishment is not referenced under the next 3. Should that means of replenishment apply to all 4?
It should. For consistency, we should actually, it's
Okay.
probably a copy and paste error.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
I agree completely that this is, something that is probably, take this the wrong way. It's a very positive move that it's coming forward. I would say long overdue. In reading through, certainly agree with, you know, the amount that it's like, it doesn't suggest the amount, it compares it to the operating cost from the year before. I think when I was going through it, to me, it makes more sense, or at least comparing it back to the way that we look at it through the township, that a min max. Because there are years that it's going to fall below that, and then you just try to top it up to the top line, right? So you can have a little more, you can have a little less, but it gives you what you can't fall below. That way, if there is one year that you decide you don't, like a year like this one that's a little tighter, and you may not want to top those back up to the max line.
And that makes sense too, because then there's expectations. When when a reader is reading this, they actually can understand what the levels are without having to reference the budget.
Right, and you won't I mean, the way that it relates back to the year before's operating costs as well, those operating costs have changed a little bit over the last couple of years. If you just had the min line and the max line and that changed a little bit, it would offset years where those operating costs change.
Any other questions, comments on this? I just have, I agree, it's well overdue. I think, Frank, for 8 years or 7 years, we said, you know, how much is operating, how much for capital and so on. So now we know that at least we have a footprint to go on. So I appreciate it. Well overdue, like I said, 7 years. Frank and I have been going back and forth talking how much, you know, is this. So well done. Thank you. Any other questions, comments on this before we move on? Is there a recommendation there? Yeah, there is, eh? Yes, there is. Recommendation that the Port Management Committee recommends that council endorse the financial reserve policy. Moved by Mr. Mayor, second by Mr. Martel. Before I call the question, go ahead.
Amended.
I'm sorry?
Can we just amend? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. When you read the motion, it should be as amended, just because there was some discussion at the table that we'll incorporate.
Okay, thank you. The Port Management Committee recommend council endorse the financial reserve policy as amended. Moved by Mr. Mayor and seconded by Mr. Martel. All in favor? Carried. G, capital budget. This report will be Leslie, Mike, Jeff, and who is going to go first?
I guess I'll start, but I'll preface this conversation by saying that I may be the one speaking first, but this was all primarily Jeff and Mike and the team that developed and did all the research and the groundwork on getting these numbers. So thank you to everyone involved. The action item I just tried to explain, and because our strategic plan was just recently approved, we tried to really focus on, we know 2026 is an election year. We have a new strategic plan that's still new to us. We're still trying to develop our work plan surrounded by that. So we wanted to develop a budget that was essentially a maintenance budget. So there's no business cases associated with this because everything that we're proposing is both major and minor in nature, but it's around asset and infrastructure maintenance this year. And as kind of the action item outlines, what falls into what strategic priority. But I don't know, Chair, do you want to go through each line item, or did you want to go on a question basis, or how do you want to go through this?
I like to go line item unless someone else wants to go. Any questions? It's up to the committee on this one. Line by line for questions. We're going to go line by line.
Okay. So we'll start with project number 1. So this is a continuation of a program that's been instituted for, I think, well over 5 years now, is the concrete wall repair project that has typically been contracted by Samoda. So we're recommending another $450,000 to continue replacing the spalling concrete. Number 2 is a dust system for the annex, and I'll kind of maybe defer to Jeff or Mike, but from what I understand, when the annex was originally instituted, it wasn't intended to be a standalone system, but what they're using it now is essentially a standalone system. And the dust without a system in place is, I don't know the proper word to describe it, but
Yeah.
It- just your mic. Sorry, no, go.
So the annex, I mean, when it was first installed, was it to put some corn out there, and it sat in storage, and, you know, we pulled corn out when some of the local businesses needed it. With the changing market now, and the fact that, you know, the corn doesn't need to be stored out there, the corn actually needs to come into the house. We've decided this year, as I said earlier, that we're going to move wheat out there, and then we had some beans out there, and it's really becoming a standalone business out there, where it's treated like an inland elevator for our marine services. So it's almost one or two people work out there full time, moving product back and forth, and it is not a nice place to work when you're moving grain. So we need to fix that by installing the my dust system, which will in turn also help with the wildlife and everything else.
Okay, we'll move on to the passenger elevator replacement. This was on the 2025 budget and was deferred pending TSSA approval. So Jeff has confirmed the recertification, so we will be proceeding with the passenger elevator replacement. Road rehabilitation and paving, this is ongoing work. So the intent for 2026 would be to widen and restabilize the truck entrance and the lane into the probe station. If any of you have actually driven into the probe station by the truck so close to the track, you'll notice how unlevel it is, and it's very quite messy, particularly when the weather is poor. So we're hoping to fix that out into entrance number 3. The grading and quality control lab, the deposit for that newly constructed trailer was paid in 2025. So this will just be the receipt of the 1 unit lease trailer that will replace the lease trailer in the washroom facility. The track shed roof replacement, the existing flat roof structure located above the grain dumping pit has reached its end of usable life and has quite substantial leaks from time to time, so it's due to be replaced. I might turn to Jeff for this, but the Burnley Baffles dust suppression system for the 5 pits.
What Burnley baffles are is it's a section of baffles or grate that goes under the grading to each dump pit, truck receiving pit. And the only portion of the baffles that open at the time of a truck dumping its load is the part where the grain sits. So you don't get this open pit where the grain hits the bottom of the conveyor or the drag and then explodes and goes back up through. So it's going to capture, I think, 90% of the dust and keep it in the pit.
So if you've ever been at the port when you witness the trucks unloading and it's just this cloud of dust, that's what we're hoping will suppress right at the onset. And again, dust system upgrades, just continuation of replacement parts required to maintain the efficiency of the dust system. The grain elevator bin walls, this is the project that we spoke about earlier that was deferred from this year that we're hoping to do in Q2 or Q3 when the weather improves. The addition of a second dust tank, again, sorry, Jeff, thank you.
So it doesn't matter how good our dust system is if we don't get rid of the dust in a timely fashion. So right now we do turn over a lot of dust because we're handling a lot of grain, which is the name of the game. So when the existing dust tank, if we can't get a truck to unload it at the proper time, it ends up backing up the dust system through the entire system. So if we can add another dust tank, the same as the one we have, we've got some leeway with the amount of time we have to get rid of the dust, and it prevents the rest of the system being overworked or plugged.
So next on the list, number 11 is the Bobcat replacement. So our units are currently almost over 30 years old. So this is replacing a tracked 75 horsepower Bobcat that will replace one of the existing. And then annual rail repair and the rail end stop replacement. So this is the replacement of approximately 200 rotten rail ties and 1 non-regulated rail end stop. So that's what we're proposing for major. Do you want to ask any questions at this point, or would you like me to keep going?
No, let's take the major ones now and discuss them.
Okay.
If we're gonna do them all or
Sure.
we're gonna act some, so. Questions, comments on this, please? Need some input. Go ahead, Mr. Smell.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering about the dust system upgrades. Is it a vacuum system you use or?
It's a push-pull system. The actual fans on the roof pull, while all the fans throughout the building push.
So if you had more, would it work better or?
We just need to get rid of a lot of leaks
Oh, okay.
and maybe modify, and we want to replace some of the rotary valves, which air can leak, and that's at the bottom of the cyclone fans on the roof.
Okay.
We need to tighten things up, definitely.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments on this, please? Go ahead, Mr. Stitt. You're on.
The chair for Jeff, I guess, the dust system, Jeff, just kind of more curiosity, we used to have a problem with dust compacting, put another silo in, now you got another compaction point, digging it out. You turn them over quick enough?
The dust tank itself, you mean?
Yeah.
Or what do we get? We get a dust truck a month, basically, Mike? Obviously,
More frequency?
yeah, and if we're sweeping bins like before harvest,
Okay.
there's more frequency then, but yeah, there's
Okay,
a lot of
hasn't
dust.
been an issue in the past, so.
No.
So my thing on that is like, you'll see our priorities really come to the dust system this year for two things. It's to try to maintain our standing with the CGC with sanitation. And it's certainly a big part of the strategic plan for the employees' health and safety. The system was installed to handle wheat. They brought wheat in, they stored it, and then they shipped it back out. That building runs all the time now, and it's running wheat, it's running soybeans, it's going to run corn. And then if we have anything to say about it, we're going to run Western product through it to move stuff out. So we need to make sure that it is up to snuff and able to do the business that we're going to run through that place. And that's really kind of our focus this year, is to make sure that we're improving that.
Do you have something, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. We purchased, I think we were in the grading shed, like the grading thing with, when the premier visit came,
Yes.
right? And that's a leased trailer from Elantra, and going through the disbursements, it looked like it costs around $5,000, 4,900, something like that a month, right? And so what's the life expectancy on that? Do we know? The trailers?
So the last trailer, Jeff, was 20 years old, the one we just pulled out.
It would be close to 20, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's got a 15-year warranty on it. I know that the new construction is better than the trailer that we had there. I mean, it's for us, it was the smartest and most economical option, seeing as that if we decided we were going to put another lane in or put some more silos in, we could just pick it up and move it type thing.
Right. Yeah, so we're $60K a year if we keep that on site until
So
when
our new one is purchased.
it's purchased. That's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
But is it cheaper to lease? Where I was going, is it ultimately cheaper to lease it? And what's the lifespan? But if it comes with a 15-year warranty, then my question doesn't matter,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to long outlive the value of what it's going to cost
Yeah.
us, right? Yeah. Okay. Good. And the other one was the deferred building will be will come with a if there's a business case or there's an immediate change, we can get that building going. We'll get it sort of shovel ready, but we won't actually start it.
That's
Is that
right. That's the intent.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not included on this, but it is on the 5-year forecast.
Right. So we're not putting it away. We're just getting it shovel ready, one for business case, or two if we have a federal or provincial partner that wants to work with us to put it up. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Mayor? Go ahead, Mr. McCauley.
This is more a general question than specific. 100-year-old elevator, more or less. Elevators of similar vintage in Thunder Bay, Owen Sound, Godrich, Sarnia. Do we stay in contact with them about issues? I assume they face some of the same issues we do. And is there any sort of best practice sharing, any sort of network within the elevator industry of the Great Lakes that we could tackle in tandem as opposed to on our own?
I have been in contact with people in Thunder Bay and, I want to say Hamilton, Sarnia, sorry. There are similarities, but there's really no playbook that everybody follows identically, which makes it difficult. And that comes down to equipment, maybe similar. Is it the same? No. It could be operating procedures. It could be something as maybe not as simple, but the Ministry of Labor, when they come in to do an inspection, there just doesn't seem to be parity across the board, which makes it difficult. And something I'd like to correct maybe Randy, when you said about has dust compaction been a problem in the past with, that's why I like another dust tank. It happened 3 times this year and it's happened 2 or 3 times last year. And when that does happen, we end up, you could be close to 3 weeks digging the system out. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that does.
Yeah.
Through the chair, Mr. Cameron has a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Cameron, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just curious if there are currently on the books or in a file somewhere quotes for all of the capital budget numbers that we have in front of us. And if there are they time stamped to hold within the budget or the numbers that are provided?
Yes. Hi, Clint. Yes, there are.
Okay, thank you very much.
Frank, getting back to your question, I do keep in touch with Godrich, but I notice and Picton, but a lot of them and ourselves like to keep cards close to your chest about doing this and doing that, and how come you're doing that? And where'd you get the money, and so on and so forth. So it's a touchy situation. You I'm not sure if you get the real answer. That being
And
said,
maybe why Thunder Bay may be the best one, only because
right.
we would not be competing with Thunder Bay. And Thunder Bay must have, I toured that port a few years back. It's got at least 6 to 8 in elevators of our vintage, some of which no longer are used. Some of the others are no longer used, but there may be someone there that we could talk to just on a best practices basis.
Sure. That's a good point. And we're going to the Highway H2 conference tomorrow, so that'd be a good point. But every time, like I said, I get in that, they sort of want to keep it. So, any other questions, comments on the capital major? None? Okay, we're going to go on to the minor, 75,000.
Yeah, so the minor projects are $75,000 and below. So we have the proposed replacement of electrical feeder MCC number 5 and 18. So this is a continuation of the motor control center replacements. So number 5 is proposed at $70,000, number 18 at $55,000. A-tower lofter bucket replacements at $50,000. So as Mike alluded to earlier, due to the high probability of potentially unloading grain vessels into the terminal, it is necessary to replace the existing plastic buckets with metal ones to reduce the fire risk and enhance the safety of grain handling operations. And I learned something new about plastic buckets being more I'm not even going to try to say that word. Oh my God, to static electricity. The fire hydrant valves, so we have 2 fire hydrants on site, so we're proposing replacing the aging valves at $40,000. Jeff spoke earlier about replacing the rotary valves for the dust system at $40,000. A side-by-side utility vehicle at $36,000. So this is to enhance the efficient movement on the property. So as you know, we have quite a wide variety of property and sometimes access. And I noticed this year during the summer season, we had a large number of staff putting the whippersnipper in their vehicles, kind of like jimmy rigging it through their back seat into their front seat. And I just think, staff, they're trying to be more efficient, but shouldn't have to be using their own personal vehicles for accessing and working on site. Number 19 is a grain vacuum. So this is a new purchase. It's a portable grain vacuum and would help with improved efficiency, safety, and cleanliness in grain handling operations. So it would quickly help us be able to clean up spills or residual grain in hard to reach areas. As Mike alluded to, we're really focused on the dust system and enhancing our efficiencies for CGC sanitary inspections. 2 lofter belts are being proposed, the number 4 and the number 5, one at $30,000 and one at $26,000. And this is part of our annual maintenance program. The computer server project, I'd say it was either deferred or missed in 2025. So this is a replacement of our network server, and its replacement is overdue. That's at $25,000. The number 5 lofter buckets at $18,000. And we have, I don't even want to guess how old our facility alarm system is, but it's been causing quite a few problems, and the company has advised us that replacement parts, if it is to go, are essentially non-existent anymore. So we would be looking to replace the alarm system at $15,000. For any of you that have been in Building B in the boardroom or in our offices, unfortunately, the seals are gone in the majority of the windows. So this is being proposed at $15,000, but I would say I have a little small X beside it because it would be, a nice to have. There's nothing wrong with the existing windows other than the seals are gone. And a snow pusher for the telehandler to increase snow removal on port property at $10,000.
Questions, comments, please, on the minor capital? Go ahead, Mr. Martel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the CAO. Ports looking for a side-by-side, recreation's looking for a side-by-side. Do we have any opportunity to save some money by getting a package deal somewhere?
Through the chair to Councillor Martel, absolutely.
Question away from me, but that's okay. You took the question away from me. That's
Sorry about that.
don't worry about it. Any other questions, comments, please?
I only had.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor, please.
I only had one, and it did relate actually to that one as well. I just had number 18, so I'm assuming that's
Yeah.
that's the
Side
same
by side,
thing.
yep.
And number 18. Do we have policy when it comes to trying to purchase from local vendors? When it comes to things, things like that? That was just my question.
I know we don't at the port, Mr. Mayor, but I'm not sure if the township does.
I would have to, through the chair, I'd have to check.
Right. Yeah, I'm just thinking, are we going to end up with somebody from Toronto on some of these items that we could buy local? That's all.
Any other questions, comments, please? Go ahead, Mr. Smell.
Thank you, Chair. Through to Jeff, I'm just wondering, the fire hydrant valves that you replaced, did you check with the water department in Cardinal to see if you get a good deal on them? Like, because they buy them in bulk, I would think. David might know, I'm not sure.
You're speaking about the fire hydrants?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the underground valves, but I've used Drapol in Kingston, who've always treated us well, but I can definitely look at elsewhere as well.
Well, I'm just saying because they usually have a lot in stock. They
Yeah.
always did, so maybe they could help you out there. That's all. Thanks.
Could you help us out on that, Dave, a little? If you have any answers to that?
He's trying to take me.
Sorry.
Yeah, through the chair, I think Jeff and I can have a conversation offline after.
Thanks very much. Any other questions, comments, please? Well, people, yeah, major and minor. What is your decision on the capital budget? Right?
Wonderful.
Well, we do have a recommendation.
I'd be happy to move that recommendation.
The Board of Management Committee recommends the council approves the proposed 2026 capital budget as presented. Moved by Mr. Martell. I need a seconder. Seconded by Mr. Smell. I got a mover and a seconder.
Question.
Any questions?
Yeah, just a comment.
Yes, or
Um,
comments before we call the question.
So the overall is 3.256 is the suggested capital with the potential, that could, after the Wednesday visit last week, there could be some changes there for sure.
Yeah.
From a funding position, we haven't seen an operational budget yet, so we don't know what the anticipated dollar value of our operational budget is yet. I'm assuming it'll be something similar to this year. How are we positioned for being able to fund this capital ask?
So this ask, and it's kind of, maybe we should defer a decision when we talk about the 5-year forecast. The operations for 2026 and the proposed capital can be funded with our current financial, I call them reserves, even though they're not identified as reserves yet. But when we do turn to the 5-year capital forecast, with an aging building, as Frank alluded to, the number is a bit scary. So to answer the mayor's point, 2026, we would be fine. 2027, we would probably be fine, but longer term, we do need to probably get more serious about what our spends are and what we're saving.
Just follow up, and it's more of a follow-up comment. It's just, I don't see anything in this year's budget, short of a couple of small, very, very small things that potentially should or could be taken out. They all seem like they're necessary and things that definitely need to move forward. And I know we've been aggressive in the last couple of years in how we fund it. I just want to make sure, looking at that other document, it certainly implies that, once you take away the dock, I don't find it so scary anymore.
Right.
And it certainly sounds like we're going to have some partners in one way or another in helping with that. But it would be an interesting conversation when it comes to, how to finance that, whether it's best to be building reserves and losing the value of $1 every single year to inflation. Like over the last 3 or 4 years, I think you would have lost more of your dollar to inflation if you had money just sitting in reserves, not actually earning you anything. So if it's earning interest and it's earning money through GICs, which we've done, then that's great. But the value of the dollar, just have it sit there and not actually be working for us. Struggle with that a little bit. So I think that's it.
Any other questions, comments? All right, no.
The only comment I make is that I appreciate that this is being done now as being, rather than being jammed into whenever it was the presentation in February, March. I think we get a better chance to look at that line by line and spend a little bit of time on it, think about where it is relative to the plan. So I just appreciate the fact it was brought forward now.
Yes, that's right. Always chair refer. We do have a mover and a seconder to approve the capital budget as presented. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor? Carried. Capital budget's passed 2026. Okay, we're going to move on to 8H is a 5-year capital forecast. This report was going to be presented, Leslie, Mike, and Jeff. Go ahead, 5 years.
Thank you. So I'm sad that Counselor Ward isn't here because he was really looking forward to this. So I hope he has an opportunity to look through this. Some of this is work that was started by my predecessor, and some of it's work that we have our team has compiled. Obviously, you're always the smartest person after the fact, so there's already a few things that we've missed, not huge dollar items, but this I think is a document that we can kind of use going forward. Our team can see, our employees can see just what the severity is and what we need to do and start saving and be open to grants and funding opportunities. And as the mayor alluded to, different partnerships. It really wasn't my intention to go line by line, but I can go through this. I think it was more just for the fact of seeing what that total dollar figure is. So essentially, under the projected surplus for 5 years, I did go a bit light based on the fact that when this was prepared, we were in a bit of a stressful situation, not knowing how this year was going to be. So the projected surplus is only based on 2.5 million every year. So hopefully over time, as we continue to develop business and other partnerships, that will increase over the years. And it was based on the current cash on hand and our current total investments. So we're looking at about 35 million over the next 5 years for just the projects that we are aware of at this time.
Questions, comments on that 5-year forecast? Oh, he's not here. Looking over Mr. Ward. Go ahead, Mr. Martel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's through you to anyone on that side of the room that could answer. Do we have any idea how much weight is involved in those scrap towers? Ballpark?
Oh, sorry. No, but I can get that for you because we've just had another couple people go in and express interest in taking them down.
I have no interest in taking them down. I'm just wondering what they weigh.
Yeah, he has that. I don't know what it was.
There's cement. There's cement floor.
Yeah, it's 4.
I'm working on that right now too. There's 13 floors. They're 165 feet tall. They're 22 by 34. Yeah. Each cement floor is 4 inches thick. So there is a good amount of concrete. But there's also a good amount of steel. So like I said, I've got somebody else working on that right now too. So
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments on that? Go ahead, Mr. Smell, you're on.
Thank you, Chair. To Mike or whoever, the towers, you plan on taking 3 of them down at once, or would it be feasible to take them one down each year? Cheaper?
that would be based on the pricing when we get it back. Yeah, it's hard to say, Waddy.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Frank.
Just again, a comment about the value of this exercise. When you look at that number, that should cause us to think very deeply about what actually this needs and how we could finance it. That also leads even to questions about what's the proper ownership of the elevator, which I know is discussed as part of the long-term strategic plan. Can that be accomplished by the port and the township? Does that need an outside party as a partner? Does it mean selling the elevator? And I'm not saying any of those is the answer, but what I'm saying is that's what, in terms of Chris looking for this over, that's what this drives, is a far better conversation around what the future, as opposed to just simply looking at it year by year. So again, great work by all of you to put this together. I think it will generate really good conversation over the course of the next year.
Thanks for your comments, Frank. I have one on the marine towers. Why not just leave them?
The fact that it keeps portions of the wall, that northern exposure, gets no sunlight, it's really hard on the concrete.
Are they causing problems though?
I'm guessing some of the leaking that's taking place in the bins are behind, well, I think they are behind the towers.
Okay. I have one every time I go by there. It's not hurting anything. And we've had that discussion before about removing them, and if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah.
I mean, but they are, and 1.5 million. So any other comments? It's great on this. You're right, Frank. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chair. And important document, certainly a guiding document along with our strategic plan as we move forward with over the next however many years. It certainly outlines the need for strategic partnership for sure. I think my comment would be I think we will have a partner from every conversation that we've heard. The second would be we did the grain dryer with the federal government, and we've been using it for a wet corn business, let's say. And it'd be interesting to see. I know last year was sort of the test year, wasn't the full year, wasn't the full harvest. It'll be interesting to see what if any there is a return on that investment this year, and if there isn't, then we've got 2.5 million that's built into a budget that we have a grain dryer that's sitting there basically losing money, or at least not returning on the original investment. And I voted against, or I always was against that project to begin with. And I just never saw the return on investment ever panning out. So to think that we would buy a second one when that one isn't being utilized even, and maybe it is offering a service, and maybe you can justify the service and not the ROI somehow. But I would struggle to buy another grain dryer when there's a perfectly useful one there that could be transitioned over.
I think that's a great point. I mean, we don't know what we don't know, I guess. Certainly we didn't have install in time last year to have a big run on corn, and there's going to be no corn this year. So, I mean, if you looked at it today, I get that. I think we probably have 3 or 4, maybe 5 more years left in the other dryer. So it'll be a time for us to see if that wet corn drying ever develops. And if it doesn't at that time, I completely agree. We move it, we take it down, take the old dryer down and put the new one in there and figure it from there.
You would say take the old dryer down, put a new one in?
If it goes and we have to replace it and we're not using the other one, I completely agree with the mayor. We take that one and replace it with the new one that we have there. And put it back on gas.
Good comment, Mr. Mayor. Any other comments on the 5-year capital forecast? Jeepers, I keep looking over. So, no other comments?
Just one further, and I know with that project, the bins that go along with that dryer, are they currently being used?
Well, they have wet corn in them right now.
They do. So there is a small bit of usage happening on them.
Yeah. And if we do need storage space out there, we used them last year as well.
Right.
And honestly, we did dry wheat out there this year.
Right.
I was going to say.
Okay. All right. So it is getting used somewhat, and those 2 bins that we put in for wet storage are still being utilized as well.
We'll put dry grain in them. Yeah.
We will. Okay. And what did that amount to for storage? Do you know that offhand?
Extra storage, you've got 8,800 tons.
Good. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments on the capital budget on the 5-year capital forecast? I have one, and I'm sort of like surprised we don't have installing a larger pipe for natural gas actually and getting off of propane. And I'm kind of shocked it wasn't in our capital budget. So is there any forecast for installing a larger line from I kind of made my point the other day, but I'm not sure where it's going to go.
I don't think we felt that we were going to take that upon ourselves to do that. I think with all the canvassing and help that we've been getting from you guys, that we were kind of waiting to see where that went.
Right. Well, we've been down the road. Okay, there's a recommendation. Any other 5-year? Mr. Cameron, do you have anything on the 5-year capital forecast?
No, sir, I do not. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you're on. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and it probably doesn't relate back. It's just, I just put it in my notes as I was going along. It probably doesn't relate to the 5-year capital directly, but when we look at, the overall budget, the top line, the expenses are what we reach in the bottom line. The top line still in a weak year seems to be pretty strong this year. We're looking at a 5-year capital plan based on, what we're going to have in a bottom line. And will we see a 5-year operational plan as well? Because in mine, I looked at it and I said our expenses are $1.2 million higher this year. Top line strong on I can't say out loud what I wrote there, but on a bad year. And so my question was, how do we end up reducing our expenses to increase that bottom line so that we can actually afford this? And I mean, from my perspective, I'd like to see we're seeing a capital plan, but for me, I'd like to see the operational plan that it increases that bottom line, because it certainly is taking a bit of a hit this year. And how can we get that back where it should be, or where it needs to be able to fund this?
We don't have one, but we can make one.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other questions, please? Go ahead, Mr. Macaulay.
We talked earlier, and Chairman, you talked about there isn't a lot of sharing among the different elevators and different ports. Is all the information that we're discussing tonight public? Like, not only just the minutes, but they can see all of this information?
Yeah.
Okay, just, I ask only because I did have a kind of an oblique inquiry from someone who could be a partner. This is a party out of Toronto I'm familiar with, and I wasn't sure how much was available to them. I was going to say, just go to the township site, the port site, and the information's all there, but I want to make sure I was okay in saying that. Okay, so it's all public. Good.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, there's a recommendation. Port Management Committee recommends that the council receive and endorse Port Johnstown 5-year capital forecast. I need a mover and I need a seconder. Moved by the mayor, seconded by Mr. Smell. Any other question, comments before I call? All in favor? Carried. And we're moving on to I, proposed strategic plan incentive timelines. Report will be presented by Leslie. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you. So at some point during the strategic plan discussions, Mr. Macaulay raised a question about, is Leslie going to be tasked with everything? And so the answer is no. So we've developed this spreadsheet that kind of, and it's also necessary so that we're all on the same page with respect to expectations. So we have the strategic plan, and in there's 53 strategic objectives. So this document was prepared and essentially just lays out who's the staff lead, the project status, and the proposed timeline. So a lot of it is operational in nature, but it's not my intent to go through all 53 initiatives, but on 2 of the points I think involve political involvement. One is 1.3 with respect to reviewing the ownership structure. And the second is 1.5 with respect to an organizational review. And as I alluded to earlier, with the 2026 being an election year, I just wanted to confirm the management committee's intent. I have proposed for the review of the ownership structure to be 2027 or 2028. And then with an org review to be started in 2027. So just was looking for some feedback on those 2 items specifically.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Certainly, Chair. I don't think ownership of the port is anything that I'm interested in the last year of a term. Certainly, if the next council wants to dip their toes into who should own the port, that have at her, but I'm not interested in having that discussion. I'm fine with the arrangement as it is right now.
Any other questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr.
Through
McNeil.
you, Mr. Chair, I agree 100% with the mayor. This is not the time to be looking at that.
Mr. Cameron, any comments?
No comment.
No comment. Thank you.
I think, Leslie, you.
No, that's
got
perfect.
your-
Then we'll just
Okay.
proceed as intended
have
with
your
the plan
direction?
as
Good.
outlined.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, you go ahead again, please.
Are we continuing along the entire thing still for discussion, or are we
Yep,
just?
no, for sure. I just wanted specifically feedback on those two items, but we can discuss any item. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that if everybody's happy with those two items, then I'll go on to one
Sure.
so it came, sort of, so I'll say 2.2.3, secure funding and partnerships for modernization projects.
Yep.
So crucial, I think, right
Yep.
now, more than anything, and seeing the document that came out on, I think it's October 22nd from the Marine Chamber. I can't express my disappointment enough that we're not part of that, that discussion. We're certainly on there as a partner, but we're not on there as an investment. And when I look at 2.2.3, and knowing that they did that review, and I don't ever remember as a committee being contacted about it. It looked like it might have been in 2023 that they started doing that
Yeah.
document. And I know none of us, at least to the best of my knowledge, were part of any of that discussion or by the company that put it on. So, but I certainly think knowing that the federal budget's passed,
It did pass?
it
Mr.
did
Mayor?
pass, yeah, 170 to 168. So it's passed. There's a lot of money going into funding these projects and these ports. I would suggest, or make the suggestion, I'd look for support around the table, that we take that 5-year capital plan, that we get it in action in terms of shovel-ready projects, and we start putting those through to the nation building projects portal, and we get those projects moving forward. If Marine Chamber of Commerce isn't going to promote ourselves, we damn well better do it ourselves, right? So if we're not going to be part of their vision, we need to make sure that we do everything that we can to help secure some of that modernization dollars. We have a great story to tell here, and if the Marine Chamber wants to focus on Picton or focus on Hamilton or the bottleneck in Montreal by expanding Valleyfield, great. But I think we need to make sure that we stand up for what we have and make sure that, we do everything within our power to help secure that partnership and that funding.
Yeah.
You're looking for support around here? I think you know how I feel. And it's not going to be pleasant probably next 2 or 3 days for me. But you know what, you know how I am. And yeah, I'm very disappointed in Marine. But I just want to hear the whole story. I think there's always 3 sides to each story, Mr. Mayor. So, because I've never heard one part of the Marine coming in and doing a survey on our behalf. And I've been up there. This is my 3rd year at H2O. Never was asked, So something we'll have to get to. I'm not sure the bottom, but I will be ruffling some feathers. So, any other comments?
I'm not quite sure how to think because I agreed with Tori and then I'm listening to you. So there's always 2 sides to every story. So
3 sides. I do have a motion here, people, on the floor. But yes, I agree with you, Mr. Mayor. I was shocked. I wish you wouldn't even have sent me that email. But anyways, it's done. Read the motion that the Port Management Committee recommends the council receives the proposed logistic plan and innovative timelines for information. Staff be directed to integrate these timelines into future capital forecasts and annual work plans to ensure effective implementation and progress monitoring. I need a mover. Moved by Mr. Martell, seconder. Mr. Mayor, you're going to second it? Thank you. Any other question, comments before I call the question? All in favor? Carried. J. Grimble County Historic Society Fraser House letter. I guess the J and K's together, is that right? So
That's correct.
Fraser House report will be presented by Leslie.
Sure. So this report, thank you, was deferred from the last meeting. So what was the date? So back in June, the Grenville County Historical Society came and made a delegation to this committee regarding the preservation of heritage assets, and had made a request essentially that this council consider the heritage designation of the Fraser House based on its historical significance. So they did provide a paper with some photos to everyone at that time with the history and the background of the property. Councillor Martell and I did visit the property, and it is quite overgrown. It is currently, there's no trespassing, and it is within the gated area, so no one can access it. And to our knowledge, no one's been trespassing or whatnot on the property. But there is a need essentially to get back to the Historical Society with respect to a decision. So we've outlined 3 options for consideration this evening. So option 1 would be to receive his information and take no further action at this time. It obviously defers a decision until such time that the lands are considered by the port or council for development, and there's no cost associated with this option. Option 2 is that given that the Fraser House is not part of our port's current development plan, the offer is to offer the house to the Grenville County Historical Society, with the understanding that this intention is to facilitate ownership and relocation of the house over the duration of a 5 to 7 year token lease. Included in this lease would be an out clause should the port require use of the lands in advance of that time frame. This would give the Historical Society ample time to leverage support from Parks Canada, as they alluded to during their delegation, and potentially other funding sources to coordinate the repair, restoration, and relocation of the house. And the only cost associated with this would be in-kind staff support with respect to letters of support for funding. Option 3 would be to source quotations for the demolition of the Fraser House and clean up the property for development purposes in 2026 or beyond. And we haven't solicited any quotes for that option at this point. So we didn't include a recommendation, as we feel that, I guess that it is a political kind of discussion and decision in nature.
Thank you, Leslie, on that. We've had this, I think, the 3rd time coming around since June. So any questions, comments on this? People love to hear it.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Frank.
Or jump.
Well played.
I look at the 3 options and prefer option 2, in part because it gives it to the Historical Society to do something. If they're unable to do something, then, and ultimately we demolish it because we need the property, we can say, look, the people who have the vested interest in it were unable to move it forward. We have no choice but to do such and such. Option 3, in terms of demolishing, makes us the bad guy. Option 1, the not do anything option, I don't think really puts us in a great place. So I would recommend option 2 as a non-voting member.
Thank you, Frank. Go ahead, Mr. Schnell.
I positively agree with Frank, because if we demolish that building, we are the bad guys, and giving it to the Historical Society, let them move it. I mean, that's why we have historical people in the country, to look after things that were made before our time, and I think that's the best option, option 2.
Thank you, Mr. Schnell. Mr. Mayor?
I think you should speak last. It's your baby. Um, I think I agree with option two as well for exactly the same reason that Mr. McCauley outlined. Doing one, I mean, that's kind of where we are now. Two seems to have the outs if we are to suddenly have partners or a need to utilize that area, or some development comes along, it gives us the ability to move on that quickly as well, as long as that's written into our comfort level. I certainly see no reason to tear it down when we don't have a plan for it. So that puts three out, and I think that the society deserves an answer they've asked. So I can support two.
Thank you. Any other people? Mr. Martell?
Well, this through the chair. Sorry.
No, you got the mic on.
Through the chair, Mr. Cameron has a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Cameron.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I completely agree with everybody on option two. It seems like the most responsible and professional reply back to them. My only question with that would be, why a 5 to 7 year window on a token lease? Why not do something a little bit more 2 to 3? Was there a reason for that timestamp as opposed to something a little bit more expedient?
Leslie, go ahead and answer that for Mr. Cameron.
Hi, Clint. Thank you for the great question. My only thought was, I don't know how to say this politically correct, but we were just giving them ample time because we know sometimes a response from Parks Canada or other funding sources, sometimes it takes longer than a few years. But we can certainly start with something shorter. I'm at the call of the committee.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Cameron?
That answers my question. Thank you.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I certainly would support. We find it. I'm not sure that this is comparable, but when we're talking about subdivisions and we're trying to allow, people time to find and finances and to do things, we often give a lot of time, and nothing happens until the very last part of that time. So, giving 5 to 7 years, okay, that's great if it happens in the first year, but if no work actually goes into it until the 5th year, then that would be a bit of a struggle. So I probably could support the 2 to 3 year, and then just sort of doing extensions. That gives the next group at this table the ability to do extensions should they choose.
I still like the 7 year myself, 5 to 7 years, and just for the simple reason we do have an out if something comes along and we have to move it. I mean, I agree. I've been here, and very frustrating, but they do like to kick the can sometimes and kick the can. So to give these people a chance to get it removed would be good. So I like option two. I like to leave everything the way it is. That's my feelings. So, Mr. Martell, do you want to speak on any of this?
Good.
You sure?
Positive.
Okay. Because this was your baby.
I think, Steve, I'm gonna make an motion to amend that to 2 to 3 years, just to see if I can just push the envelope on it a little bit to support.
I need a mover.
To support. I'm gonna move it. I just need a seconder
Seconder?
between either Waddy or Joe, just to try to move the needle. If I don't get a seconder, I don't get a seconder.
Push.
Me either.
Realistically, when you're talking to the government, it's going to take 2 years to get the first form filled out. So.
I agree. I'm looking for a mover. I'm looking for a seconder. Sorry, got a mover to amend it. Not gonna go. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. Is that okay? Anyways, thank you very much, Mr. Cameron. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for your insight here. We do have a motion, and that the Port Management Committee recommends the council approves option 2 as it relates to the future of the Fraser House. I need a mover. Moved by Mr. Smell, seconded by Mr. Martell. Any questions, comments before we call? One last time, Mr. Martell.
Good.
All in favor? Good, carried. I'm glad for that one. I really am.
You bulldoze the friggin' thing down.
Hmm?
I kind of want to be the bad guy now. Let's bulldoze the friggin' thing down. Let's invite them out.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
Mr. Martell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you like to say that again with your mic on?
Okay, moving on. Number 9, approval of disbursements. Council of the Township of Hillsborough County approves the payment support invoices circulated and numbered as follows. Withdraws $366,730.53. $3,466.30, $113,785.56, $117,251.86 for a total of $483,982.39. I need a mover. Moved by Mr. Martell and second by Mr. Mayor. All in favor? Carried. Number 10, councilor inquires notice of motion. Any? Mayor or Mr. Martell, Mr. Smell? Nothing? Okay. Number 11, chair's report. I'm going to have our mayor speak on the chair's report of last Wednesday, please. Just do a little blurb. It was nice.
Thanks for the
Here,
notice.
baby.
Thanks for the notice.
I was
What
gonna
would
call
you,
ya.
what would you like me to cover?
Our Mr. Ford from down at the port, because I think that was very, very important. And I hope
Okay.
we get some
All right. Well,
information.
just so that everyone understands, we started in the morning or the early afternoon. I don't know. It's all a blur now. By doing the sod turning for Canada's largest, best solar battery storage battery and energy storage solution on Dobie Road. And then we went to HFI and toured the premier through there. He came back to the port. There was no media. That we had a group of probably, I don't know, 40 or so-ish people, maybe a little bit less than that, various agribusinesses, a couple of farmers, some stakeholders, Logistec was in the room, a group of elected officials, that sort of stuff. And we wanted to show the premier the port, brag it up a little bit. But ultimately we, which most people don't know, we made a presentation in June to the premier's office about partnership with the province in ways to expand at the port, to try to further the provincial, Protect Ontario sort of mandate, what they had. And in their fall economic statement, we recognize some synergies between what we have to offer at the port and what their fall economic statement says. So we worked hard in June, the staff and council, and we over time have formed that relationship with the province and with the premier's office. And finally, we were able to get him here, which was a feat in itself to actually get him here. Now, when he got here to the port, it was wonderful to get him there, but he sat down at the table. He certainly listened to everything that everyone had to offer. And then he asked us what we were struggling with, what our problems were at the port. And so we laid out a few of the issues that we were having. He took his phone from his assistant, and one of them was, as we all know, is the gas line issue with Enbridge. So, he typed on his phone and waited a couple seconds. I kind of thought, what the heck's he doing? He just stopped. I know I'm not the greatest to listen to, but he just sort of stopped listening and he was just typing on his phone. And I was like, I'm still talking. And so then he laid his phone out on the table and he just said, it's the CEO of Enbridge, tell her the problem you're having. And so then we were able to go into detail with the problem that, we had with Enbridge. And by Friday, I had an email back from Enbridge letting me know that it was at the top of their priority list and that they would be we'd be hearing again from them in the near future. So in regard to that line that was there, he did that 2 or 3 more times. One was with CBSA. I had a call with the Minister of Safety about CBSA later that night. He wasn't able to reach him in the office. The Minister of Safety talked to me about CBSA at Hamilton, at Valleyfield, at Picton, about what the federal government's plans were, that sort of thing. Talked to me about the scanners that they need to do the CBSA container scanning, that sort of stuff. And that was as a result of that conversation. And the last one that I think he made was in regard to, you probably heard us talk about Infrastructure Ontario and our attempts to purchase the land bank. So he phoned the
Acting minister.
president of Infrastructure Ontario and laid it out on the line. Now, I couldn't speak to any of that because I've signed an NDA and I'm not comfortable breaking the NDA, whether the premier gives me permission to do it or not. But Steve Clark was willing. He understands where the discussion's gone. He knows how he's worked on our behalf. And so he was able to have that discussion. Certainly those negotiations are ongoing. I'm looking to the CAO to make sure I'm not breaking it right now. Those negotiations continue to be ongoing, but it certainly got us to a place that we hadn't been able to get in, the last 2 or 3 terms. So just being able to get that man in our building, I know Steve appreciates this. I sent him a couple of the pictures that were taken. He couldn't believe the work that was getting done sitting at that table. And I think we all felt that we should, somehow find a way to keep him there for about 12 more hours to solve a few more of the problems. Because if we all had that power, we'd certainly be able to get a lot more done. So I'm not sure if that's the greatest of summations, but I know he was impressed with the opportunities that are there. He's already impressed with what the place has, how it would, the past groups had the foresight to buy it for $60 to turn it into a place that puts 1 million metric tons through every year. That's paramount to staff, council's visions of the past and where it is today. But it's our job to, help find partners and push them. And that federal budget that just went through, we're now in the works of forming, those relationships. You're probably going to speak to that. So we work hard to do that. I want everybody to know that there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background, and we certainly, I can't say it enough, we appreciate the opportunity. It took 5 months or 4 months to get him here through lots of scheduling changes, but we were able to get him here. And I think we're going to see a lot of, I think the number he said was 99.5% sure that was happening. So when we get that last 0.5, we'll put it to work.
Yeah.
But
really.
Thankful for that visit. And, we continue to see a lot of interest flowing through that building, whether it was Minister Rob Flack, whether it was Trevor Jones, the ministers keep coming through, and that's always a good sign. So
Just no checkbook.
well, there might be now. Let's see how it goes.
Great. But yes, on the record, are you done, Mr. Mayor, on that?
Sure.
You can continue.
I don't think I can.
I just I can't say enough about Premier Ford and MPP Clark actually for the get to go that day with their the questions. I was dumbfounded when he got his phone out too. I just couldn't believe it.
I do have the picture to prove it.
Yeah.
I wish we could have put it up. I would have
Don't
known
you-
this. I
don't
would have
you
had
worry,
them
I
put
got
it
a
up
big
on
one
the,
going in my
put
head,
it up.
believe it or not. So anyways, I just wanted to, express my feelings with Premier Ford and MPP Clark. It was just great. And I sure appreciate everything that they're doing. And hopefully they continue on to help us at the port for sure. And on that, we also had a meeting. It was a Zoom meeting with Yatsir Naqvi, the parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Infrastructure, or International Trade, sorry, the other day. And it was a very good and constructive meeting. And we're going to continue with one in person. We're hoping down the road with them. So that's always good to hear too. And hopefully we can get some other ministers down there to see what we had. And he was interested. He saw the pictures and so on. But like he said, he felt better if he go right to the port. So, which is a good sign. If he didn't really want that, he wouldn't bring it up. Do you want to hit on that a little bit more, Mr. Mayor?
I was going to take a different
Approach?
different approach when you were done. I think you're doing
Okay,
you're
sure.
doing great with Yasser.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
No,
fantastic.
I'm done with my chair. Keep
Okay,
going.
well, I will say we presented Yasser with the same presentation that we had presented to the Premier's office. Certainly, Yasser, Mr. Naqvi, sorry, or PA Naqvi, was very interested in the port message, to the point that he wants to get down there or get down here and do the full tour. I think now that they had a lot going on last week trying to get the budget passed. Now that the budget's passed, they can move forward with their mandate. And when we made the presentation to PA Naqvi, we were very clear that we're an interested partner in helping not only the province achieve, their Protect Ontario Workers and Jobs mandate, but we know that we fit into the federal mandate somehow with the money that they're going to put into ports to try to support and protect Canadian economic resiliency. We do play a role in that, and I think our message that Mr. Naqvi heard from the team at the port and Steve and I was exactly that. We have lots of projects that we can move forward, but we want to work with the projects that you guys want to move forward. We can tell you what our best 2 or 3 are, but we have some land, we've got tons of opportunity, and what you have is a very supportive group that wants to move the mandates that you feel help Canadian economic resiliency the most. So find a place for us to fit in with that, and we want to help you deliver. So we made that message super clear that we're here as a supportive group and as a willing partner. So we continue, and I know Steve works his butt off with that angle to try to continue to forge those relationships. I know you guys are going to forge some, over the next couple of days in Toronto, and we certainly continue that work. And there'll be more ongoing by the sounds of it. So
Just have to be successful.
yeah. The one thing though that I did learn, and it's, if you bear with me for 2 seconds. So on the Tuesday night before, this all happened on the Wednesday when the Premier came, and then Thursday when we met with PA Naqvi. When we did the BESS announcement and how we worked through that project, it was done one of the only reasons that we rose to the top in locations is with the partnership with the AOPFN, so the Algonquin of the Pikwakagon First Nation. And I know that we have a fantastic relationship with the port and Chief Abram from Mohawk of Akwesasne. But I think one thing that we need to make abundantly clear, if we're going to have partnerships, and I know I listened to Prime Minister Carney talk about the nation building projects that are going to move forward. I think all of those projects, there was one that didn't, but every single one of them had some form of First Nations partnership. And so we can stand alone if we want, but I think if we don't work, we need to find a way to work better and find out how we can find some form of a partnership with the Mohawk to move it forward. I think together is how we're gonna work that through. You know, I know the relationship that we have with the Algonquin now is solid, and with Chief Sarrazin, he's a very strong supporter. I know when we go to him from now on, he'll certainly support things that we do. They're a very, very supportive group of projects and of growth, and especially when you take the time to do meaningful consultation with them. So I am sure that is, and I know we have that, but I think we need to probably work on and develop that a little bit better.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. Well, that is my report. So moving on to number 12, question period. There's no members in the audience or online has any questions. Yes.
Quick question based on all the contacts and partnerships we're trying to do. I'm just curious about, one of you have been contacted by Export Development Canada? Because I know they are trying to connect with few ports, and they have been already in contact with few ports, because one of their strategy now, it's putting Build Canada Street and productive capacity and domestic infrastructure. That's why they're trying to connect with some ports around Canada. So I was just trying to check with you if you have been, so I can try to connect. So what will be the best person to connect?
Connect to Leslie.
Leslie, right? Directly to you? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I would say that, if I can, Chair, just a quick one. We have, you know, through the ministers, not somebody directly from Export Canada, but from both the Minister of Safety, who is Gary I don't want to say his name wrong, but I think it's Sanji. I had a good conversation with the minister, and he said that they had been in contact with 15 to 18 ports at that point. The only reason that I talked to him was because the premier phoned him from the table in the port when he was there. I don't know that we were on their radar. He certainly spoke to me about Picton. He spoke to me about Valleyfield. He spoke to me about the work they're doing at Hamilton, and he spoke to me about Thunder Bay. And I certainly laid out the best that I could, the strengths at our port and the need for him to come and actually see what we have to compare to the others, because he hadn't been to the others. And I said, if you come and see ours, we're an hour south, you know, and he's quite willing to come down and see what we have to offer. He said, well, I'll just catch the train to go back to Toronto. So I fully expect that him and PA NACFI will be coming to have a look, but that's not somebody directly from Export Canada. And I don't know that we'll hear much from them until we actually have those visits with those ministers, and they start putting the pressure on the bureaucrats to, you know, just sort of make that investment.
Okay, moving on. We have a closed session. So I'm going to read the motion. The committee proceeds in closed session at 8:19 in order to address a matter pertaining to Section 239 2F advice, and the subject is solicitor-client privilege, including communication necessary for the purpose, specifically stevedore operating agreement. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Mr. Martel and seconded by Mr. Smell. 8:19. All in favor? Carry. We'll go in the closed session with a 5-minute recess. Thank you. the closed meeting of the committee is now adjourned and the opening meeting does now resume at 8:56 PM. And, Mr. Mayor? And smell. Okay, all in favor? Before I call the question? Thank you very much. We reported a closed session with a high-level overview. What was discussed? How's that one? I know. Now the committee does now adjourn.
You have to report out of closed session. So
That's not.
A report at a closed session
If I may suggest.
with a high level of overview, what was discussed.
Received information. And that we gave direction to the general manager.
Okay, we received
Yep.
information and we directed the general manager to proceed. Geez, I loved it. Okay, I mean, I do too. Now, I need a move in a second to adjourn this meeting. Moved by Mr. Martell and seconded by Mr. Smell. All in favor, we adjourn at 8:57 PM.